Hey, welcome to Christina Speaks. I am excited that I've got Kim Wayne here. She is the executive director of Jewel Academy. Welcome, Kim. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us, Jewel Academy, tell us what it is and how did it start?
Sure. So Jules Academy is a nonprofit organization that basically serves underrepresented minority girls. And when I say minority, we really actually say underrepresented. And you say, well, what is underrepresented? It's girls of color and then also low income, but then underrepresented in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. And our whole goal is to expose them to as many STEM careers as possible between grades 4th grade through 12th.
Oh, okay. So that's a wide range, 4th through 12th grade.
Yes.
And then, so do you work with the schools or how do these girls know about the program?
Great question. We started the science program of Jules called Young Emerging Scientists in 2012. And we started in Science Center of Iowa. And we were able to host our summer sessions there. And we had a retirement school teacher that helped us develop the program and made that connection with the Science Center. So you asked how do we start, or?
Yeah, and then how do you get the girls? Do you work with the schools,
okay.
or how do you get
Yes,
the 4th through 12th grade girls?
So our connection started, because we're a long-term STEM enrichment program, our connection started within about 4 different connections, one with Girl Scouts, one with the Science Center of Iowa, and then our retirement principal that we had in the community, and she had a connection with Des Moines Public Schools. So since then, we're now partners with Des Moines Public Schools, still Girl Scouts, and then we have some civic organizations. So we basically we don't recruit as much as we would love to, just because we only have a capacity about 40 girls per workshop. We're workshop based, so we're about 4 hours every Saturday. Everything's on Saturday, so there's nothing like Jules Academy in a city, or probably even actually in a state that we know of.
Okay.
And it's 4 hours on Saturdays, and then we have training sessions in the evenings for high schoolers. What's different about it is that in 4th grade through 9th grade girls, they're participants. Then they graduate from the Young Emerging Scientist program. And at 10th grade through 12th, they are now paid. They come and assist the instructor. So it creates a continuum of
Yeah,
retention.
so then they can mentor the younger ones and kind of
Exactly.
be an example.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got 40 girls, and they come from all the different schools, I'm guessing?
Des Moines Metro. So majority of them, I would say 85% are from Des Moines Public School. And then
Okay.
we have a few from Waukee and Dallas County and Ankeny.
Oh, okay. So they don't necessarily have to be from the Des Moines School District.
Correct.
And then, excuse me, so these 40 girls, they come together and they have workshops. What are some of the workshops about?
So we try to hit all 4 topics of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So one of our popular workshops in the science field is personal care chemistry. So we would have the typical workshop would be some type of icebreaker. And then we will have a career speaker, and the girls will come with about 2 or 3 questions for the speaker. So this speaker was from an organization that made hairspray. And the formulated chemist said, 99% of the time, the formula does not work. So basically, there's failure. But that 1%, that's when aha moment takes place. So it taught the girls to welcome mistakes. Welcome, that's where that's where you find the innovation, and you continually to work towards that 1% of getting that one product to work. So the girls, so then what happens is, after they speak with the speaker, then we'll have an instructor to do a hands-on kind of maker exercise that relates to that speaker topic. So they'll make lotion or lip gloss or something in the nature for personal care, and we just link that formulation, that recipe, to say, okay, now a chemist will be called a formulator, or so we try to link those careers. And then we end with, they always have some type of snack, and then we end with 2 students will have to do some type of public speaking for about 2 minutes. And it's just, what's your name, what school you attend, what did you learn, what worked well, what didn't work well. And the whole purpose is just for them to practice standing up in a public setting to speak.
Oh, okay.
So mind you, you will see those natural speakers, and then you'll see those ones that just dread it.
Oh,
so
yes.
it's fun though, because now they can they'll get over that fear. And so there's always at least, we have 13 workshops a year, so there's that format of always having some type of public speaking they must do. So.
And so in the 13 workshops, are they congruent? So do you have to go to workshop 1 in order to go to workshop 2, or can you pop in whenever?
It's seasonal. So our 13 workshops, so we have, of those 13, 4 of them are math camps. So study tells us that girls change their opinion about science careers right around 10 to 11 years old. So that's why we start at 4th grade. And so because of that, something about their confidence in mathematics. So if we can keep their confidence in mathematics during those transitional years, then we're able to create higher retention in the interest of STEM careers. So the mathematics, so we created Math Camp is what I'm sharing, and that's 4 of the 13. And then the rest of the 8 is the Young Emerging Scientists, and all those are seasonal. So we follow the Moines Public Schools spring break.
Okay.
The first and second Saturday of the spring break. And then we go 4 Saturdays in the summer, and then 2 in the fall. And then we'll go host. We can go up to 13. We'll go host one for, like, Girl Scouts will be next year. We'll go on the east side of Iowa and host a workshop for Girl Scouts. We will always get a request somewhere to go run a workshop outside of our plan, 12 or 13 planned.
So if someone in Sioux City wanted some kind of programming that you've done, then you go and you take your programming there and you work with their girls, is what you're saying.
So next year will be our first time getting on the road to take our programming.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yes. So that's so we are trying to build a model such that we can replicate. Yes.
And so how did you get involved with, or how did you, because you created this, correct?
Yes, I'm the founder.
And so what motivated you to do this? Are you yourself in a STEM field and you noticed that there was a lack of girls, or what motivated you to start Jules?
So I am a chemical engineer by academics, and I basically what kept me I've been in my field for 19 years now, and what has kept me, one of the things I noticed probably right after I graduated from undergraduate is that I would go recruit for, at that time I was working for 3M, and I would recruit for National Society of Black Engineers, and there was no one in the pipeline. And I thought, what is going on? This was probably in 2001, 2002 timeframe. And what I realized was, and then we will have these open recs open. And then even 10 years later, I'm in the field, and still we would have a lot of open recs meaning, job openings. And I knew that there was something was missing, because I come from Gary, Indiana, which is very high rate of low income, a lot of higher poverty and such. And I realized 1 hour away, 90 miles away, you can get a degree in 5 years and totally change your trajectory. And I felt like something was missing. Why are we 90 miles away from and we're not changing our region? So now I moved. My first job was in Iowa, and I knew I wanted to serve women. I knew I wanted to serve youth also, and I knew that I wanted to run a nonprofit. Those are the 3 things I knew that I felt like I was destined to do. And we had some life events in my home life, and I just knew that I wanted to make sure I didn't leave this earth without a dream that I had in my head, a dream that I knew I need to put in the earth. And I was talking to a mentor in the community, and I said, I know these 3 things I want. And she said, well, science, and you like to work with women. We need women in science. Why don't you do something with that? And so at the time I was traveling with my day job, and I knew the only thing I could do to be able to do this was to have it on Saturday. So hence why it's always on Saturdays.
Okay.
So.
Well, and I think that's helpful to the participants as well. They can do other events, programs, for their schools Monday through Friday, and then still explore this on the weekends.
Because most people, what are people doing? Like, what are students doing, I should say, in the mornings? So, in Saturday mornings. So
sleeping or on some kind of screen. Yeah.
So here you are. You can come together. It takes a discipline though. 9 o'clock we start, and you're there from between 9 and 12:30, and it takes a discipline to come and want to learn. But it's I think, and the students, the feedback that we get, it is how I say. Revealing and exciting, because you walk away with something made and it's tangible, and it's there's this cycle of emotions you go through because it doesn't work the first time. I mean, these kids are building robots to creating personal care chemistry. They can burn the ingredients because the temperature, and then they have to formulate. Sometimes the lip gloss is really hard, and sometimes it's too loose. So they're learning trial and error, understanding what do these different properties do to get into the right consistency. So we don't give them the answer. There's not a such thing as a right answer, but it's what's the most functional in the time allowed it. So.
And so how do how would they sign up? Is it a website that you have? Is it through their teacher? How would a girl
So we are on the web at jewelsacademy.org, so JEWELSACADEMY.org. And basically you click on events, and we have a list of all of the events, and you click on which event you're interested in, and there's a registration page on our website. You can go to our Facebook page also, just type in Jewels Academy. And then you can also register. We have flyers. We send the flyers to the Des Moines Public Schools. We're mostly in middle schools, and we concentrate on the middle schools mostly. But I can't say that I know. It's on Backpack, Des Moines Public Schools Backpack.
Oh yeah,
it's on that website. I think it's on Waukees Backpack too, and Johnston's Backpack equivalent. So mostly social media. We're on Instagram also. But I would definitely say our website, jewelsacademy.org, is where you can register easily. We are definitely a community partner with Des Moines Public Schools and Girl Scouts. So our partnerships are huge. We have several partnerships from space. So all the universities, the big universities, we're able to partner with Iowa State. They do a Saturday session with us. University of Iowa is coming up this upcoming Saturday. We're so excited. It's called Yes Day. So excited about that. And then Drake, we're able to do some of our math camp at Drake. We've even been at DMAC in some of the years.
Awesome. So the women or the girls are getting exposed to these different universities.
Yes.
But then also to the science, technology, engineering, and math kind of curriculum.
Yes.
And then, so I guess the profile of the girls, are they girls that have some interest in the STEM field? Are they just girls that are looking for programming? What would you say the profile of a participant is?
Over the 7 years, what we've learned is the girls who have somewhat of an interest, they don't have to be sold out, but they don't really know what they're interested in. This is a great program to explore what you may like or what you don't like. And it helps you eliminate or say, I don't think that electrical engineering is for me. And it's not that we're doing hardcore, but we do circuits, and there's some engineering concepts that we teach. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great, that's what I did is every year when I was in middle school, I went to a science program of some sort, and I was able to eliminate civil engineering, electrical engineering, etc. And so exposure that's one of the key things they talk about for underrepresented minorities in STEM, is that if you get exposure to them, great if it's early, but if you can get them exposure before they, probably before, I would say, their sophomore year, expose them to as much as possible, and even no matter what, but just a lot of exposure and accessibility, it creates a richness and a better decision making of what they know that they would like. And then also the parents being intentional in their coaching. Why do I say this? Is because I was studying some research, and it talks about for underrepresented minorities, the key is being able to have them exposed with mentors, and the mentors could be their parents. And when you take them to like the universities and give them those environments, you show what they aspire to next. It just broadens their horizons and open doors that they may have necessarily would have had before. Mm-hmm. And the minute that they have that exposure, the minute they know there's something else out there, and that's why I realized when I was getting exposure when I lived in Gary, Indiana, but some of my classmates weren't. So they had no idea that there was something else out there.
I hadn't thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense. I was about in middle school when there was a program that came into my life that completely changed my trajectory. It wasn't specific to science, but they exposed me to private college prep high schools, which I didn't think were a real thing. I thought they were something that happened on like TV shows. Growing up in Chicago, all I really knew was that there were either your religious private schools or the public schools. I didn't know that there was independently private schools that their main goal was to prepare students to go to college. So now that I think about it, I think I was like 11 when I first heard about it. I did. I went to the program all through middle school, and they helped me get a scholarship to pay for that private school. And now that I have a child in high school, now is when I see how different my high school experience was to what it would have been in a public school. And I don't think that I would have been as prepared as I was to go straight from high school to a university had I not been in that environment beforehand. And especially I was the youngest in my class. So, I was going to college at 17, a new 17-year-old. I think that I would have epically failed if I hadn't had that preparation. But I didn't know how good that prep was until now. I see what the difference would have been had I gone to a public high school and had a very different curriculum. So yeah, it was that time in my life, about 10 or 11. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I didn't know what college I wanted to go to. I just knew that I wanted to go to college at some point, and that if I didn't take advantage of that program then, that I probably wouldn't be able to go to college.
What differences did you see, may I ask?
Well, it was a lot of the independence that you get in college. So, for example, most of our classes we got to choose. So we put together our schedules.
In high school?
In high school, we had to meet with our advisors and have a college plan. So if you, if your goal was to go to Harvard, you were going to take certain classes. You had to take a certain number of AP classes. Versus, the student who's like, no, I want to go to University of Illinois or whatever. And they start working on that day one. There was a dedicated office to college planning at the school. And there was a room that you can hang out in there that had this huge chalkboard. And every year, the chalkboard had every senior's name on it, and next to it, all of the colleges that they got accepted to.
Okay.
So it was also very competitive because you wanted to have as many schools behind your name, and they put little stars next to the Ivy League schools, and you were required to apply to at least one Ivy League school. That was the expectation going in.
The expectation was very high.
Oh, super high, to the point where...
That's excellent.
This was before, so I'm going to date myself here. This is before online applications, right? Okay. So you had to send in your little postcard and say, yes, send me an application. And then they would come to the school, and then the school would put them in our cubbies, and our cubbies were just in the hallway. And people would hang around those cubbies, and if they wanted to go to the same school you did, especially if it was Ivy League, they would take your application right out of your cubby.
Wow.
So that you could not apply.
Wow.
That's how competitive and serious these kids were. And they were not first generation going to college. Their parents, had gone to college. Right. And so these were like what they call legacy students. And so their whole vocabulary was also very different. It wasn't the if I go to school, it was what school I'm going to go to. There was no talk of starting at a junior college and then working your way into a four-year university. No, you go straight there. I mean, it was just a whole different mindset that I had never been exposed to before. And had it not been for that, would I have ended up in a university? Probably, but I don't think that I would have known how to look for resources to help me be successful. I would not have known how to study. That's something that I see in college students now in my career as an educator in higher education. I have so many students, even at the graduate school level, who have never really learned how to study. They read material over and over again, and they try and memorize chunks, and they have no active study skills. And I had to learn that at 12 years old when I started my freshman year, and I had never studied in middle school. And I get to high school and I'm expected to study, not just do homework, but study every single night in every single subject. There were nights where my mom, and I were the only ones awake at 10:30 at night. I'm doing homework and crying through it because I'm tired and I don't want to go to school anymore. And they weren't very nice to me there. I was the only, one of 2 Latinas in my entire class, and my mom was like, well, you worked hard to get there, so you stick it out.
So she stayed up with you?
Yeah, so she would stay up with me till I was done with my homework. Then, when I graduated, I was not afraid to go away to school, which a lot of people that I had grown up with, it wasn't even heard of for a young Latina to go away to school, to leave her home, leave her city, leave her state. In my family, no one had done it. But I didn't think twice. I was like, yeah, that's what you do. You go to high school, you graduate, you go away to school, you get away from your family. I didn't go that far, I went one state away, but that was a big difference. And I don't know that I would have had that confidence to say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, had I not been in an environment that said, yeah, that is what you can do. That is a possibility. Why wouldn't it be? And it was that, that same age that you're targeting, that 11, 12 years old, where you're kind of trying to figure out who you are, which makes it kind of hard to figure out who you want to be. Sure. Even at the college level, when I advise students, I tell them, you don't have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. Sure. What will make you happy for the next 5 to 6 years? Yes. What do you think you can do that will be fulfilling to you for the next 5 or 6 years? And then if it's not, guess what? School's not going anywhere. You can learn until the day you die. You learn to do something else. You move on to something else.
That's good.
So you've had this program now for 7 years, you said?
Yes.
So you have seen participants graduate. So what are they doing after Jules Academy?
Sure. So our oldest participants were youth workers. Youth worker program started in 2012. So now one of them is a mechanical engineer, and she works in she designed pipes for nuclear substance.
Wow.
Yeah. She was a valedictorian in high school. She was quite sharp. Yep, she finished. And then the next one is in medical school, or she's just finishing a respiratory therapy program in Minnesota. And very cool. I'm thinking about the older one. The one just graduated. I got invited. It was on Mother's Day. It was huge. She just graduated in May, and she graduated in neuroscience.
Wow.
Very proud of her. She went to a private school, and she was in the foster care system. So she called me. She said, I need to get 4 tickets, and I want you to have one of them. So, I said, I'll be there. So that was very honorable. It was very honorable. Yep. And let's see. So right now, so those were the oldest ones in 2014, because now it's 2019. So that's been 5 years. Now we are in biology. We have a student in. They're going to go into the second year biology. So we physical science. One just finished, also graduated in geology, physical sciences. But for physical sciences, chemistry, geology, earth sciences, you have to have probably a master's or higher. It just how it works with the job. So the young lady actually wants to be an educator, and she's with me right now. She works part-time as our admin. That's the geology. Okay. So she works full-time, but then she helps us. So we do have the students come back, or they're not students now, the professionals come back. And so our biggest class is 2021. That they were fourth graders when we started, and so I'm looking forward to that. But they are all interested. The girls are. Some of them are interested in journalism and communication. I'm just happy that they want to go to college too. At the end of the day, it'd be great you get into a STEM field, but some of them weren't even thinking about college. So when you finish, it's success.
Exactly.
All the way around.
Field. Definitely.
Yeah.
So So now these women are graduating in different fields, and you said they come back. So do they come back as speakers and to share their story then? I'm guessing?
Exactly. And we started this face group, private group that's connected to Jules Academy called JA Network. And the whole goal is, mentorship is powerful, right?
Right.
So when a student just starts college and they say, well, is this normal for organic chemistry? They can post those types of questions out there in that JA Network group with people who are also finished to create that social capital,
Great,
So
yeah.
majority of the time they either come back. It'd be great when they become givers to philanthropy, but yeah, they come back and they speak, or they even lead a class.
Oh,
They
nice.
instruct something.
And do the majority of the girls then have like siblings that come after them? That
Yes.
my sister was in Jules, so I want to be.
Yes, we always have sister. We have one class this year where we had 3 sets of sisters.
Oh,
That's
okay.
huge. And there's something though, because we serve just women. There's something about when you have brothers, it's hard to swallow for the household, and so we created sibling day once a year, and it really helps. Even though the mission is still, we have not met our mission, so this is why we still serve young women, but we do understand the girls take back their complete assignment. They share that, and it just does something for the household and what they learn, and
Right.
it sparks.
And so then their brothers want to do it, so you have sibling day where they can come and kind of be.
Exactly. So Assembly Day is October 12th of this year.
All right. So then their siblings, regardless of their age, they come, and now do the girls lead that to kind of show off what they have learned, or is there a special speaker, or what does
Sure.
sibling day look like?
It looks very similar to our normal workshops. The biggest thing is that we'll have a snippet of the different workshops that we've had for the year. So we'll have electrical component, a science. So imagine like different stations, and we rotate every hour.
Oh,
So
okay. So
the-
they get exposed to various. Okay.
Exactly. So we'll have up to 4. So we may have 2D, two-dimensional fabrication, where they have to design in a design software, and then they can get it cut out into vinyl, and they can apply it to maybe a picture frame or a T-shirt. And we have a heat press machine. So what they're doing is, what careers are linked? Design in 2D, you can do from drafting to mechanical engineering, just to teach them about considered dimensions, etc. And then the 2D fabrication, we talk about different material science. So, hey, this is vinyl, this is heat transfer. When you put pressure, so you talk about the different careers that deals with heat transfer. You could do chemical engineering, you do material science engineering, etc. And then we have electrical, we have a circuit, so they learn like a basic circuit, the elements of circuits and what careers are linked to that. And the whole purpose is for them to get that exposure, hands-on. They get to walk away and show their community what they've done, and they can think about, they have more of an understanding what some of these fields mean. And we may show a video, we may have a speaker come in, and it's something about having someone look like you speak to say, I'm a formulator and this is what I do. And so so when we have a statistician that used to be on our board chair, and she still teaches in the math camp, and she has a PhD, and we purposely ask that they call her doctor. And so what it's doing is really saying, I look like Dr. Maria, and she's Dr. Maria, meaning I can be like Dr. Maria,
Right.
because Dr. Maria looks like me.
Right.
So it's a really
It's powerful.
yeah.
Yeah, and affirming. And, it's not a message that girls of color, girls in general, but then girls of color are getting.
Yes.
And girls of color who come from, the lower income households. So,
Yeah. So
I
we
can
have,
see where that would be very, very powerful.
I would say now it's about 60% low and reduced lunch. Free and reduced lunch. Free and reduced lunch, thank you. About 60% of our participants.
So then is the program free?
The
to
program is
participants?
not free, but we don't turn anyone away. So there's a registration fee, and the purpose of that is really to make sure people think twice about not showing up.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand. Like, accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yes, but if there's ever, and it happens, they're not able to pay their registration fee, we have a scholarship. We don't really turn anybody away.
Yeah. Well, and aside from that, I think that one of the things that we don't do as women, and feel free to disagree, is to invest in ourselves very much.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that I have always advocated for, and whatever I've been a part of, is that there is a different value in saying someone gave this to me,
Yes.
or I gave this to myself. I
Yes.
made this happen.
Yes.
And even if it is a small fee,
Yes.
but it's something that you invest in yourself. And once you start seeing yourself as worthy of being invested in,
Yes.
I think you develop a different mindset of what you will and will not tolerate for yourself. So, you know, as a single mom, I think, oh gosh, what would that registration fee be? But as a woman and as someone who has been in the nonprofit world, I understand that accountability and that investing in oneself is important. And in fact, I saw something not too long ago where instead of saying the fee, it said investment. And it was the fee to participate in something. And I thought that's how
good.
we should be
Viewing
things.
Yes.
It's not that you're just paying me to do something for you. It's that you are investing in yourself
Yes.
to have this service or program. I can't think of what it was, but I thought, yeah, that's the language we should be using.
That's good. I wonder if, that's good.
So so they hear about it, they can register online. And can the same girl do all 13 workshops if she wanted to? Okay.
We actually probably maybe have about I would say 6% of the girls will start at the beginning of the year. They come all throughout the year.
Oh, okay. So
in year
rather than just kind of picking and choosing, they just consistently try everything. Well, that's awesome.
Yes. So we make sure we try not to repeat any workshop within a year, and we also try to not repeat within. We try not to repeat year to year. We're trying to
keep it fresh for those girls, I imagine, who keep coming year after year.
Yes,
you know.
Exactly.
Okay. And then, so what do you do? Do you like refer if let's say a boy comes to your sibling day and they love it and it's something they want to do, and you know that they're coming from that same low income family, do you refer them to other programs?
Definitely.
Are there programs for boys as well that you know of?
I know of a few. We know. So I have a handful of people I always direct them to. There are a couple boy like robotics teams. I don't think there is anything exactly similar to Jules Academy, unfortunately. I would love if I had, resources. I would create a boys program too.
Sure.
Oh my goodness, how wonderful! But there's I do know that there are boy programs like 1-day events for boys, 1-day event for girls. Like I think Des Moines University has 1-day events for girls and boys, and Science Center of Iowa, Sci Girls have. They have programming just for girls, Science Center of Iowa, but for boys, I don't know many. You know, we have Boy Scouts, but then we also have Girl Scouts too. Right. But there's a couple of organizations I direct them to, and then they can help them know further what's going on. Like there's a STEM festival that's coming up in Ankeny, October 28th that we're going to participate in. Jefferson Elementary School just had a jamboree at the end of September that we go and we actually do a little hands-on and make hands-on robots. They call brush bots, and it gives them an understanding. I have a battery, I have a motor, I have a toothbrush, and this is how I connect positive and negative, and then they see it vibrate and it skirts around the table. And the level of that spark of when it moves is very intriguing to them.
Very neat. So you've been doing this now for 7 years, and for you personally as a woman in STEM, what is I guess what fills you the most from this organization?
What fills me the most, and it edifies me, is knowing that we and the team that makes up Jules Academy, we are a change generation. To know that this person over here is a mechanical engineer, but designing nuclear infrastructure, and this other person over here wants to do research. She's a newest science, and she wants to do research. She actually wants to understand for criminal justice system and the foster care system, how can they help handle stressful personal events, but still keep making good life choices. and it was and she's using the science part of it. That I get I'm very it gets me going when I see that students are empowered and that we can one person at a time generational poverty. This is something when you can change the trajectory of a student's life and then their family life. That, and I know that they're going to change. They're on the road to do that. It does something for me. Because it did it for me.
Yeah.
And I know that when you get exposed, and education is the key. It's it's one of the keys, and so.
Wow. So how do you find the funding and the sponsorships and get I guess wallets to open to what you're doing and the ideas? Do you have like a grant writer? Is it mostly do the partnerships kick in money? Like how do you keep it funded?
Yes. Okay, so we're a nonprofit, and I'm going to be very transparent here. 70% of our funding comes from corporate grants. 70. Okay. That is not a very and it's year over year we have to reapply. Right. So some years you may not even get it. Yes. Right. Yeah. And then we have such a great opportunity to build our individual base. We do not have a lot of individual funders. The ones that do give to us individuals, they are consistent, and they've been consistent with us almost from year set, day one. Yes. So we are funded 70% corporate. And then we will have maybe some county grants and then individual donations. The partnerships, how we have a service that we are providing for workforce development, and it helps that also our state has a really big STEM initiative. We fit right into that long-term goal. So when you can link up to a strategy that has a momentum statewide or nationally wide, it does help. And then because remember like when I was recruiting, we always had these job recs open. This is long-term helping the corporations make their jobs, but at the same time we can immediately help empower and educate the students real time. So our stance is workforce development.
Okay. And then are you, as the executive director, are you also an employee, or are you a volunteer executive director?
I am a part-time employee. We have 2 part-time employees, a man and myself, and everyone else is a contractor. So the part-time is basically, and mind you, a lot of me is in kind. Sure. Just but it's something that we do. We have paperwork every month, and we have timesheets approvals, and I had the board approves my there's protocol and all that. Of course. So yes, I am a part-time employee. Our goal is to have a full-time staff of 3 people by we are. I don't want to put the date out there, but we're trying.
Sure, I know how that goes.
There's a strategy we're trying to make it. So we're working towards that strategy.
To have 3 full-time people, an executive director, and then 2
program manager, programming, and then we are looking at. You asked about the grants, and we're looking at either something between grant writing or right now it's grant writing.
Yeah, like a development.
Yeah, development. Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. I am the grant writer right now. I do have some help with our staff too, though.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we have 2 people that are interested in learning how to write grants. So we're so excited about getting them up to speed, and that will help increase our capacity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So it's been a lot of fun. I didn't know much about how it worked. I had heard of Jewels Academy. I had seen the flyers. I'm sure my daughter probably brought some home. And of course, I have followed you and what you've been doing. And I've always kind of thought, okay, what exactly is this about? And then just keeping in mind the girls in my family, like I'm thinking about my 11-year-old niece, even my 15-year-old daughter. At one point she was interested in forensic science. I don't know where she stands with that now, but then I think about even my 2-year-old niece who, maybe one day will be a neuro, surgeon or, something in the sciences if she is exposed and believes that is something she can do. So I'm glad that there is this type of programming out there, and hopefully it sustains so that she can enroll in, the next 8 years or so.
That's our goal.
See where she is. All right. Well, it's been fun learning about Jules Academy and what they do and how they do it. And I think it's a wonderful service that this community is very lucky to have, especially coming from that background as a girl of color from the free and reduced lunch pool. I'd like to learn a little bit about you. And so I like to ask my guests what are their 5 favorite things about Des Moines, and you're certainly welcome to list Jules Academy as one of them.
Sure. One on the same vein, my 5 things. One is being able to start a nonprofit for women of color or underrepresented women. That's huge. To be able to create a have fertile soil to do that. You can't do that everywhere. So I love that about Des Moines. 2 is I love the bike paths. That was so nice. 3, I enjoy my Iowa family. I'm still here in Iowa because of the people. 4, the education opportunities that I've had. I've gone highest as I can in my education, and it's been a really great experience here in Iowa. And the 5th, I'm holding out. It's I'm going to say my. If I could say, I'll speak this into existence. It's that love that I'm looking for. That husband. I'm claiming that I would find that guy with me here in Iowa. So,
well, hey, I think that's possible. A lot of people don't think that, but I found 2 very, very good men here in Iowa, so I think that will happen for you too, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Christina Speaks and educating me and those who were listening on Jules Academy. I wish you all the best of luck. If there's any way that I can support you in any way, please know that you always have a listening ear and a willing spirit for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Christina Speaks and learning more about Jules Academy. If you want to learn more or enroll a young woman, julesacademy.org. Thank you.